I do think that the Orioles are going to make one more signing and maybe one more trade. Now, looking at it more extensively, do you guys think of the one player that I would have that could be a cheaper option? Not saying it's a fit, but I think that the Orioles might need to inquire a little bit more on, Zach.
Can I say the answer because we talked about it in pre-show meetings?
Well, why don't we throw out the short on there to talk about how easy of a pitcher he is to have in your locker room, but also one of the biggest competitors.
Where do you have that? Oh, yep, there it is.
And every pitch, and everybody thought we were going to have a problem. He said, oh, he's going to be hard to manage. It was just the opposite, right? He was one of my easier pitchers to manage. I said, listen, when I put my hand out like this and you come off the field, you're done. Now, you want to go down the runway and bump heads, we'll do that and whatever. And he would tell me, hey, I got 2 hitters next inning. Probably if I flap my glove, be thinking about it. I feel better than I thought or whatever. And there was a communication there. And he trusted me and I trusted him. It was an honor to have around. He'd go pitch a game, come back to the dugout and look like a cheerleader in there. I love Max.
So I'll throw out that one name because if you're talking about a veteran presence, a guy that I think with the Orioles, the options in the market right now, you're looking at a Jack Flaherty, right? I think a lot of Oriole fans, and I don't think the Orioles are going to make a move for Jack coming back. So if you're looking at a veteran arm that's still out there, and that, yes, he is aged, but he's one of the best competitors. If you watch that interview with Buck Showalter and you've watched Max Scherzer's career, he is one of the best competitors. Now, last year was a very injury-riddled season, but if you're looking at a guy that has veteran experience, is going to be a surefire Hall of Famer, I think that that's very appealing to a still young staff there. So that would be number one because Max is probably not going to cost a lot when you're looking at some of these other names here. So I'm just saying, to me, it's a low risk. Be a high upside, and you're talking about bringing somebody in that's been a part of winning teams. I think Max could be a potential fit. I'm not expecting it, but I'm saying that's that fans might need to open their eyes to. I know a lot of people aren't probably happy about that, but that's one.
Fucking hate that. That's bullshit. If that happens, the Orioles fandom will go absolutely apeshit. It'll be just like last year.
So if they get Scherzer and then do my second thing where they trade for one of the Mariners pitchers, how would you rate the offseason then?
If they trade for one of the Mariners pitchers, fine. Max Scherzer doesn't become the spotlight of the offseason.
Yep. So that's not what I said.
But if they
that's
don't,
not what I said.
I know. I'm just saying if they do the Max Scherzer deal before making a trade, then they will go bananas. If they make the trade for the Mariners and they're like, okay, let's just test out and see what happens with Max Scherzer, fine. But the dude's 40 years old.
Yeah,
I agree.
Feel like a Craig situation all over again.
And he could, but I'm just saying, if you're talking about depth and a guy that's been around, and you're looking for a veteran, who's the veteran on your team outside of Zach Eflin and Sagano, who's never pitched in the major leagues?
In the rotation, there aren't.
No.
So you make a trade for one guy. Say you trade for Luis Castillo, or you get one of those young arms. Who's the leader of that staff?
I'd rather have Flaherty back.
But for the price.
Okay.
I just think
this is a guy that started 17 games the last 2 seasons combined.
Yeah.
It's like that's wear and tear. And listen, if they get him again, like Brad said, and they go out and you said you go out and get a Mariners pitcher or someone else, solid signing. I think the veteran presence, it helps in the starting rotation, and you'd love to have a guy like that has postseason experience and World Series experience as well. That'd be great. But to go out and like Brad said, I agree with you, man. And again, Mike Elias is not doing shit based off of what this fan base thinks. Like breaking news. We all know that. But it's to go out and solely make this move and then go to spring training with this roster would be a disservice to this team, this roster, and this fan base.
I'm expecting him to actually pitch a whole season too.
So my thing was, I said there's a plural list here. So I can already tell how you guys, the reaction after one thing, that is how I know the fan base will react to being what the hell. And I would be shocked then if that's what you go into spring training where you get one of these older veteran guys, then yes, you have a right to go, well, damn, why didn't we go get somebody else? But my wish list would be get a veteran that's been around. And the one thing with Scherzer that's held that the only thing right now, Rocco, you said 17 starts in the last 2 years, right? Is that injuries? No doubt.
Yep.
So has it been his production or has it just been the injuries? Because there's a difference with him and Craig Kimbrell. Craig, I can understand where he had moments, but then Craig, you could tell he just ran out of gas. And that was an unfortunate circumstance. But with Scherzer, I think he has something left in the tank. But
sorry, Rip. 17. It was 17 games with 17 games with Texas combined the last 2 seasons. So he only started 9 last year because of injury.
Yeah.
The Mets before, so that's on me.
And he pitched 27 and 22.
So he had a sub-4 ERA last year with Texas in 9 starts, coming back later. He has his worst ERA in the last 8 seasons. I'm sorry. His worst ERA in his career since 2011 was a 4.01. So I'm saying add a piece like that, and my wish listing and is what I hope is Baltimore goes and gets one of the controlled options from Seattle, and you pair that with your group while you get Kyle Bradish back later in the season and some of your other starters. I think that this Orioles rotation would then have leadership from a veteran standpoint, and then also would add another piece that you're going to have for years to come while Grayson Rodriguez can continue to ascend to being a top-of-the-line starter. And then Kyle Bradish, if he's healthy and he's feeling good, Kyle Bradish will be in the Cy Young consideration. So is that an okay plan?
I think if you make a trade and then Max Scherzer is your veteran that you bring in, I think it's a great plan. It's got to be. I agree with Brad and the fact that it can't be the move for it.
No, it can't be the move.
Yeah, because there is risk and stuff. But I think if you're going for Scherzer as, hey, we like our rotation, we want to bring a veteran guy in to see how he does, to see what he does, and kind of be that voice of reason of been there, done that. I think it's a perfect move. I think especially for these young guys. I mean, and Buck talked about it. Max Scherzer is one of the biggest cheerleaders a baseball team could ever have. He is, as Buck talked about extensively in the full interview. He's like, if he's not pitching, Max Scherzer is the first person on the bench that is standing up, locked in the game. He is cheering on every pitch. He is helping everyone when they need to. He is just the ideal teammate. He's psychotic on the mound, but I mean, all the greats are. It's just, I think it would be a great fit.
I think the one thing that the Orioles lack, Zach, didn't mean to cut you off. What they lack is you need some sort of backbone leader in there that understands. That was one thing that was missing. I love James McCann, but if we're looking at a standpoint of guys that have gone on to win at the highest level and guys that command and have that presence, I think Scherzer brings more of that feel. If you're not going to if Corbin Burns comes back and you sign him to the big deal, which then everything else doesn't matter. Yeah. But I don't think Corbin's signing that deal. I don't think he's coming back to Baltimore. If not, give me the guy that has the pedigree to help a young staff take the next step.